So let's start with just the basic facts about what has happened to young people in the 2010s. Gen Z, people born after 1995, sort of snuck up on us. The students who arrived on campus in 2014 were different from those who were arriving a couple years before. They had higher rates of those things that you see there, but the really characteristic feature of Gen Z is very, very high rates of psychological disorders. And it's not all psychological disorders. It's mostly anxiety and depression. So if you look, these were the rates reported by college mental health centers in 2008, 2010, but as we go on in the 2010s, this is what happens. And it's not that everybody was getting more anxious in the 2010s. If we look at the differences by generation, they weren't very big in 2010. But over the course of the 2010s, something hits Gen Z. And the younger millennials, but it's really hitting Gen Z. It doesn't touch older people. And it's not evenly divided between the sexes. So there's always been, it's always been the case that girls and women experience more internalizing disorders and anxiety, depression. But as we go through this period, it's the girls who really get hit. Now, boys are not doing well either, but being depressed or anxious is now a normal part of being an American girl. And I want to point out something you'll see in a couple of the graphs. The 2020 data was collected in early 2020, before COVID restrictions. The 2021 data is after COVID restrictions. So you can see the effect of COVID, right? If you squint, you can see the effect of COVID. This was all baked in by 2019. Now, some said, and still say, that, oh, this is just another moral panic. The older folks, they always freak out about digital, whatever communication technology the young people are using. And, this is not even a real epidemic. It's just self-report. The young people are self-reporting that they're anxious and depressed. That's a good thing, that they're not ashamed. But this is not true, and we know that because if we look at behavior that is not self-reported, we see the same thing. So this is the number per 100,000 in the US population of young girls, 10 to 14, who end up in emergency rooms because they harmed themselves, mostly cutting. And what you see is that the rate for boys didn't go up, well, it went up somewhat, but the girls' rate tripled, nearly tripled. Preteen girls didn't used to cut themselves, and now they do. And tragically, we see it in completed suicides. So these were the rates for boys on top now and girls. And again, in this period, so this is not self-report. And there's a really striking, shocking feature of this graph, which is a 67% increase in suicides in 1 year. What happened in 2012 such that many more girls were killing themselves in 2013? Well, 2012 is the year that all the girls got on Instagram. And it's not just here. It's happening in all of the English-speaking countries. Here's self-harm data in the UK, same in Australia, New Zealand. Looking at it a different way, in Canada, question, is your mental health excellent or very good on a 5-point scale? And the top line there is the young girls, the teen and young girls, young women. And what we see is they used to be the happiest, and then in the 2010s, they plummet, and now they're the least happy. So why? Why do you suppose this could be happening at the same time in many countries? It's happening in the Scandinavian countries too. I've looked at those as well. And why is it hitting girls, and especially younger teen girls, the hardest? I wonder why that could be.